Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. Of course, I'm covering the WNBA Game 2 semifinals, the Mercury against the Lynx. The game last night was a shocker, I just should say. From my analysis from Game 1, my biggest concern was could the Mercury score enough points? And they did that last night. They found a way to do that, and they outscored, the Lynx in the second half and in the overtime, which it was an overtime game, which it shouldn't have been because, Minnesota was in control most of the game. I mean, they were up by 20 points and they just took their foot off the gas and allowed the Mercury to come back. And especially since Mercury only had three people in double digits, but they got a lot of scoring from the bench. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But it was just a sloppy basketball from Minnesota in that second half, especially in overtime. They only scored like one basket, and it was pretty off-putting because from game one, it looks like they were in total control. And in this game as well, they were in total control up until that, late third quarter into the fourth quarter. All the momentum was just zapped out by overtime. And you could just tell they took the fire from the Minnesota team, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes in the rest of the series. And if that momentum, because Game 5 is going to be back in Phoenix, and their fans will be raucous, and it's going to be a difficult place to play. But as I talked about before, one of the biggest reasons that Minnesota lost this game is because of their bench production or lack thereof. They only got 3 points from their bench, opposed to Minnesota getting 25 points from their bench. So that was the biggest difference in the game, I think, for me. But for Minnesota, there's a lot of blame to go around. But I think one of the biggest people to place blame on is Cheryl Reeves, just for several reasons, and I'll go into those. The first one, as I talked about before, she took her foot off the gas. They were scoring at an elite clip, especially Courtney Williams. She was phenomenal last night until the third and fourth quarters and overtime. But for some reason, in the fourth quarter, Courtney Williams was out for extended amount of time, and that took kind of the flow out of the game when she put her bench players in, which I thought they were just trying to basically say, we have this game. Let's, just put our bench in and just get ready for game three. But in the playoffs, you can't really do that, especially if the other team haven't took their starters out. They left their starters in for most of the fourth quarter and overtime. But I think Cheryl Reeves just made a mistake, and I think she'll make that correction going forward in the series. But it was just it was sloppy from coaching side and the player side, uh, because Courtney Williams was just on fire, but everybody else just really didn't have a vibe last night. People was hitting shots here and there, and it just looked good, but she was getting everybody set up. And then when you took her out, you just pretty much lost the team. And I felt like she played Heidemann, which I like Heidemann a lot, but she had her playing way too many minutes. I mean, she had 15 minutes. She played 15 minutes, only had one rebound and one assist. She wasn't able to score. She was sloppy with the basketball. She almost had like 4 or 5 turnovers, only ended up with like one somehow, but she just didn't have it. Or you could tell she didn't have it early. So I don't see why she kept playing her. I mean, I understand she was trying to get her in rhythm, but in the fourth quarter, you just should have played her. But the players do have to take a lot of this loss, just for the simple fact of they let this lead dwindle away, and they shouldn't have been able to at least put some pressure on the paint. They were just taking bad shots and just turning the basketball over and just sloppy throws. It was crazy. It looked like two different games if you watched both halves of that game. It looked like two completely different teams, for the Lynx and for Mercury. Mercury just seemed like they were defeated in that first half, and then they came out in the second half like they got a pep speech or something, and they just came out and just started nailing shots and just just going out, like it was the last game. But anytime that you have a 20-point lead, but you let the other team shoot 40% from the three, and when you only shooting 25% from the three, and you let them make they're +6 in the 3-point category, you're pretty much going to lose that game. You gave up way too many threes. You let them shoot at a high clip from shooting threes as well. So you were pretty much setting up yourself for failure, no matter how many points you were up by. We know how important the 3 point is in today's game for men and women's basketball. No safe is no lead is safe unless you're up by 40 points or something like that in the fourth quarter. You can count on the team shooting a lot of threes and at a high clip. So it was just amazing to see that they lost that lead so fast last night. I thought at some point they would put their foot down and say we are Minnesota Lynx, but they never did it. In the late half in that game, they just kept letting them have momentum in life, and it was, I don't know. Hopefully Minnesota can recover from this because I thought they were a shoe in to go to the championship and win it this year, especially with the Liberty out. But Alyssa Thomas and the Phoenix Mercury had other plans. And Alyssa Thomas, I can't talk about her enough. She had 19 points, 13 assists, which was huge in the game, and 8 rebounds. So she was a triple double on triple double watch last night. And she made a lot of key free throws last night, especially with her only being a 60 point, 60% free throw shooter. She made 70% last night, which is just a little bit of an increase from what she usually does. But with her awkward, unorthodox shooting because of her labrums, um, I thought she did phenomenal from the free throw line because at the end, Minnesota kind of banked on, well, we'll follow Alyssa Thomas. She'll miss some free throws and we'll recover. But she never really did that. I think she only missed like one free throw maybe in that second half, and she was just phenomenal. But Sabali, she did well. And I think she was a huge reason that they were able to score those points with her adding, 5 3 pointers and 19 points last night. So she was pretty good from shooting last night. And if she can keep up that 3 point shooting, she'll definitely keep them competitive. But they will need that 3 point shooting to beat this Minnesota team because that's the only reason I think they beat them last night. And Minnesota beating themselves. Uh, so they really have to figure out the turnover situation and they have to figure out that bench. You can't get 3 points from your bench in the playoffs. I don't care if you're only playing one person. You have to find a way to get points from that bench, especially if the other team is going to have, be plus 22 from the bench. You can't win that way. So, and with the turnovers as well. So, but it was a very good game, I thought. And the referees let them play a lot. So it was very physical game last night as well. So hopefully they let them play going forward because it wasn't really a lot of foul shooting until Minnesota had to foul and they were doing it intentionally. So, but the referees let them play, and it's always good to see that. But game three is Friday night. It's in Phoenix, so it's going to be all stakes on the line. It's going to be a very pivotal game three because game threes are always very important in every series, but especially in these best of fives because you're on the brink of elimination if of course, if you go down 2-1, but it's going to be interesting to see. But I'll definitely be covering that coming up. And until next time, I'll see you next time.